Welcome to Stockdogs Unleashed. Get ready for another episode where we dig deep into ranching life and the world of the working dog.
From the ups and downs of handling cattle to training the perfect stock dog, we're sharing it all.
We'll be telling some crazy stories, offering tips and tricks, and of course throwing in a little bit of humor along the way.
Whether you're working on the ranch or just love hearing about it, there's something here for everyone.
So sit back, grab your coffee, and let's get this episode rolling.
Okay, welcome to Stock Dogs Unleashed. I'm sitting down with Travis again, unfortunately, and his good friend from Australia, Clayton Moger, if I said that right.
That's right.
Oh, welcome, dude. I'm glad to see you.
How's it going anyway? That the podcast experience, just you're kicking into it. You look a little red.
Yeah, it's a little unnerving.
I don't know. Is it your alcoholic rash or it's just your general
Uncomfortableness.
I think it's the piss rash a little bit.
Yep.
And a little bit of both, I think. Yeah, 50-50, I reckon. Yeah.
That's pretty good. Me and Clayton are on our way to an Alan Jackson concert. So,
Which initially I thought couldn't be weirder, but it's the last one.
he's dying.
That's
Or sick, I think. I don't know the fact. You have to
Yeah.
fact
Is
check
he
me.
really dying?
Yeah, I
really?
hope so because we paid a bit
You
of money.
hope so?
Yeah, because I want to go to his last one. If he does another one like George
If he
Strait,
does, yeah,
he's gonna cop it.
yeah.
I think that info came from me, though, so we probably need to fact check that. Something's going on with him anyway.
He's not. He's getting older.
It should be his last one. I
He
know
must
that
be
much.
dying because it's deer. It's really expensive. So something's going on.
Remind me where it's at. What state?
Milwaukee,
Milwaukee,
Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's it. Yep, that's the place we're going. Hmm.
Nice.
So I was told it was dangerous there. So if Clayton doesn't make it back, he was a sacrifice for me.
I bet you $1 million he can run faster than you.
100%.
Yeah.
But
And that's the key to survival.
yeah, I'll tell him he's got all the money. So
Joke's on him. I left my kid with his wife, so he's got another kid now to look after.
Yeah.
that's true. But I told him when he's coming over here that it was going to be warm weather, and a week ago it was,
Yeah.
and then it snowed.
Yeah.
on
and
that
it's,
driver.
and it's coming in. It's supposed to be getting way, way worse really quick.
Good.
I seen the weather here in Utah yesterday, and it's supposed to straight rain for 3 days starting tomorrow, I think. Snow over 15 inches here.
Jeez.
Yeah. It's supposed to get after it. You guys might be landing back. When do you land back in?
Monday.
Yeah, you're going to be landing in snow, buddy. Maybe not down at the airport, though.
I hope not. I told him it'd be good. Then he bring one jacket.
This one.
No.
Yeah, I've been
You
running
didn't
it.
have a spare one.
Oh, I've been pinching a few off of him,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's hard going. His kid, he said, I won't even need to bring any for my kid, but my kid's bigger than his, so none of their clothes or shoes fit him. So
no.
yeah, it's been good.
Just have Travis go buy you one. He's got money.
Well,
He's
Clayton knows better.
secretly loaded.
Well, Clayton, he's got stud cattle in Australia and Braffords. You want to tell some people about what a Brafford is?
yep, Hereford over Brahman, I guess.
Yep.
I think 3.8 to 5.8. 3.8 Hereford, 5.8 Brahman was the start.
Okay.
Where more higher Hereford content, less Brahman, just because of the country we live in is a bit better country, so they don't have to be as tick resistant and a bit better pasture. So
And the Brahmin are the ones that are tick resistant.
yep.
Gotcha.
Can handle the coast a bit more, handle a bit more dry conditions,
Gotcha.
that sort of thing. But yeah, we like the flatback. There's more money in flatbacks than humpy cattle, I
okay.
guess.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So we stick to that, but that's
So-
our deal.
Remind me, I know Travis has told me this. You said stud cattle, but that doesn't mean like stud horse. What stud cattle? Remind me what that is.
Like your purebreds, like I guess show cattle here. I don't know what you guys call them here. What do you call when someone breeds a purebred cattle here? That
Oh, that's what it is. It's just a.
it'd have to be.
There's another word for it. It's not purebred, but there's another word for it. Shoot, I don't know.
Let us know in the comments. That way we
But
can.
if they're 5/8 and 3/8, but they're considered that's a breed
That's
down
a
there.
breed, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say that next. It sounds silly because that's a crossbreed.
Yeah.
But it's established as its own breed now. They've
Yeah.
got your own society, just like drought masters in Australia. Like they Santa Gertrudis, like they weren't ever their own breed. They're a crossbred.
Yeah.
But now they've got enough generations that it's a cross. It's its own breed now. Yeah.
They have a standard of what they're supposed to look like.
Yeah.
I know Gavin, when we had the interview with Gavin, he was the Drought Masters or whatever, and they were saying, "Oh yeah, it's just a cross between." And he named 2 other cows I'd never heard before in my life. And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah."
Yeah, I got you. Got a couple of them at home.
Yeah.
Yep. Heard of them
Same
too.
deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same
So,
deal, yeah.
but other than that, me and Clayton have known each other since I don't know, we're 12 probably.
High school.
Yeah, he's been bringing me down ever since. But he was a bit of a pig hunting man.
Yes.
He was a boar terror of the town we lived in. So he we together we both consider ourselves pretty boar terrors. But
What's a bull terror? Boar terror. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like
okay.
ultimate pig hunter.
I gotta have him translate a little bit every once in a while on me.
Yep.
Yep.
I should say for piss rash too, with Clayton saying that's not urine. Piss is a thing for alcohol rash.
Yeah.
It's a term for getting a little rash over your drinks.
He's just not peeing on himself and getting a rash.
Yeah, I probably need to stop a few of those things. A bit of the slang's probably not going to go down real well.
No, that's
about-
great. That's the best part about it.
I thought about letting it go for a minute just so people are like, is that guy peeing on himself?
Yeah.
And
I thought maybe you two had a little fetish. or something.
no, so I thought I'd better get into that a little bit. But no, we used to
Boar
run a
terrors.
pig dogs and stuff, and Clayton's dogs are pretty good. So I'd like to tell us a little bit about what goes into that.
Let's start out with what kind of dogs.
I guess we had bits and pieces of anything we could get our hands on. I think one time we were all living together and we went to get a dog each, and we brought back the whole litter, and we were living in town as well. So we must have had about 12 dogs.
I forgot about that. Yeah, we did. Yep.
Yeah, we were in strife for that, but they turned out pretty good. One of them ended up being Travis's best dog. So it kind of worked out. They were free too, which is always a plus. But mainly bull Arabs, I guess, we stuck to, which is just another crossbred between bull terrier and God knows. I think if you don't know what it
Mastiffs
is,
and pointers.
And what did you call it? A bullard?
bull Arab.
Arab.
Yep.
Bull Arab.
Yep.
Yeah, I've never heard of that either.
Bigger dog that had a bit of a nose on him.
Kind of like a bully cross, though, or no?
Not really. They were bigger, stronger dogs, smaller than a mastiff, but a little bit lighter and
But had a nose so they could track.
yeah, but not like the bloodhound where
Yeah,
track because we were fat and drunk when we were going to chase them. So
yeah.
well,
I
Clayton
was drunk, you were fat.
Yeah, well, that's up to discussion. Let the camera do the talking, people.
Shoot.
But no, that's what you would do, and it was a fun time. But yeah, go into more what how you trained them up.
Well, I guess we started a lot. We were lucky enough to have a few places that had a bit of river country. And the hardest thing to do, because the idea was we'd be able to drive around in the back and in a ute, have dogs on the back, and you could drive. You know, early mornings are the best time, and night time, pretty much the worst time to be awake. But the idea is they jump off, they go catch the pig. We either drive to it or run to it, depending, put it out of its misery, and hopefully go on and get more. But to start off with, they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know.
So when you mean they just jump off, they were back there loose and they decided when to get off. What is it? Because they smelled them or sighted them?
Smell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because when we would, I used to do a little bear and lion hunting, and with the bear especially, you could have a strike dog or whatever, and you wouldn't let them just bail off, but you'd always have one that would start bellering, and you'd slam on the brakes and rip him loose.
Yep. And I guess some people did have dogs that, because we generally had dogs that hung them by the ear or nose to hold on to them, but we had other dogs that bail them up, bark, make a lot of noise, and get them to sit down and sort of try and fight the dog. But you know, until we got there and we could shoot it, or one of the bigger dogs got there, you know, you have the meat heads that just come along, and they're basically just there to hold the pig, so you can get in there and flip it and sort it out.
I see all the videos on the internet, and seems like there's the ones that run them down and catch them, and then there's always the muscle head with all the protection on him, and he comes in and grabs him and holds him down so you can get in there.
Yeah.
So do you hoping you do have some that make noise? Is that how you follow them, or do you track them, or how do you keep up with them?
Everyone's different. I guess we always had a few different ones, but we didn't like. The only thing we didn't like about the noise is trail barking when they were chasing a pig and they couldn't catch it and they'd sort of start whimpering and that we didn't like that. But apart from that, everything else was.
What was the downside for that?
Well,
They kind of took off on if that dog was after one pig and another dog was after another pig, and this one started yapping, the other dog would come. Like, I think was a big thing.
Maybe they think there was a fight or something going on, so they.
I thought that was me, but
yeah.
I don't know what Clayton what his.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like it was a bad habit. I guess you don't like it with your work dogs either.
Yep.
It is a bit distracting, and especially if you want each dog to get their own pig. That's the ideal thing because you're doubling your numbers or tripling your numbers kind of thing, especially if you're making money out of them. You want as many as you can, and by the time you've got to one and got two dogs off and send them on, it might be too late. The rest of the mob might be gone, you know.
I got you.
So,
I got you.
yeah, just...
So when they bail off there, you're actually looking, you're hoping there's probably like 10 pigs there.
Definitely.
And every dog's going to go grab one and hang on to it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a little different scenario than the lion and bear because you're dumping 10 hounds out on one bear.
Yeah.
And they better not be meandering off of that for nothing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you start a track, they should all be helped. And sometimes they'll get lost or confused for a minute and they'll all circle around until one line's out and then they all line out with that one, you know. But it's always one dog or 10 dogs or whatever on one animal.
Yep.
So I can see what you mean by
Getting them hold of them.
Yeah, you will preferably every dog gets his own pig. Yeah.
But I guess the way we used to start with the thing I was saying about the river is we could walk the river and basically walk them onto pigs that were wallowed up. And that way they sort of clicked on to what they were doing, especially because we didn't have going dogs when we started. So we had nothing to train our dogs with, so we had to train them ourselves. So it was just a lot of walking, a lot of dry runs, you know, lots of wasted fuel.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of cans sunk. Yeah.
We were skinnier then too. The weight gain for Clayton was from when we started driving, and having to, because you can have a few beers, have the music up, going along. It's my kind of hunting.
Yeah.
You can be having a good time, and then the dogs jump off, and then just instant quiet. Everyone's waiting for the hit up of the pig. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, younger brothers are good too because they're on the back in the cold with the dogs spotlighting and you're inside, windows up, music, and you only really talk to them if you need another beer.
And to get the gate.
and to tell them stop falling asleep and hold the spotlight straight, you know?
Yeah.
And then that was probably our best time hunting when we got a bit older and we had younger people to come with because they just wanted to get their dogs going and we had the good dogs then. So we made the rules.
Yep.
That was shout out to Blake Moger, Clayton's younger brother. He did a lot of spotlighting and gate getting. And you'd always tell when they're falling asleep because it'd be 3 o'clock in the morning. It'd be cold and we'd be somewhat drunk. And you'd see the spotlight drop down or just stay in the one spot and you crack the window. Hey! So it was pretty.
Care if you're cold or not.
So it was pretty fun. But we did a lot of that. We went to the pound a couple of times, didn't we? Just to get the meathead, anything that looked kind of like it was a bit savage and they'd grab hold of something. Because them pigs have them tusks and will kill them dogs a bit too if you're not careful. And that's with protection and doing everything right.
Yeah, you can usually hear it. I remember we were up at a place in Queensland anyway, and we got, if you get onto the young boars that are really big and they've got the real sharp hooks, they you can hear them going through your dog's chest plate. That's a horrible, horrible sound because you don't even hear the pig. All you hear is the dog fighting it, and then every now and again just bark, you know, as it's getting hit and it's going through its chest plate. And yeah, you turn it on then to try and get there and sort it out as quickly as you can and then first thing, you know, you're opening it up and then you've got staples or, you know, a lot to deal with then, which is always a bit of a worry, but that's the game, and I think the dogs love it regardless.
That's what I was going to ask you was, what does it look like when say 5 dogs go out and get 5 pigs and you guys are now trying to, like, you just running your ass off to every pig and going off videos on the internet. You're packing a knife, you knife them, you shoot them, you
We were mainly knives. I think as I got older and I was going alone a lot more, and I'd only have one dog and a pup, I just had the 30-30 over my shoulder, and you can turn 2 pigs into 5 pretty quick with a 30-30, which was good. So you always had that, but it's fucking mayhem, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It is mayhem, but it's not always. Sometimes we've had our 2 best dogs at Travis's grandparents, and we're with a few of our mates, and they've got good dogs, and we're on a hunting trip, and we've come across both our best dogs with a piglet, and they're fighting over it. Like,
It can be bad.
it can be real bad. That's pretty disappointing when you see that, especially
Yeah.
when your mates see it.
Yeah, because
So-
you cop a fair bit of slack from that.
Yeah.
When they catch when you see a good sized bull running off and then you hear, and it's a piglet they've got.
Yeah, that's shocking.
And there's no money in piglets.
Yeah.
You
So what kind of money is there in the big boars? Like who's wanting them? Are they eating them or they just what?
Salami, I guess, is the main thing. You got to be Safe Foods accredited. You've got refrigerated boxes that you've got to have them there by a certain time. You know, you can't be driving around through the day with a dead pig on the back. You know, it's obviously going off. But we used to go put them there. Travis was accredited.
Yeah, I think Germany bought them a lot for like that wild boar. When people, I think over there, if you say you're eating wild boar, it was pig caught in Australia, but they were so gross.
Oh.
Like we've caught pigs, like just inside dead cows, and like
really?
they're gross. Like they don't eat. They're pretty carnivorous little buggers.
Like to eat some meat?
Yeah, and like just clean it. Yeah, they clean up a dead animal. We used to.
Are they kind of like prairie dogs? You kill one of them, they'll come back and clean up a pig, or is it?
I never really seen them on dead pig because we'd take the carcasses with us to sell.
Yeah.
But yeah, there wasn't too much, and like the people, the meat, as much as they probably wouldn't like to people eating the meat to hear it, but it was like people like me and Clayton having a few beers, driving around in a ute with dead pigs hanging off the back and the dogs. You had a barrier, you had to be somewhat clean and make it like somewhat great, but they were pretty much out in the open. It wasn't as restaurant-y as you'd like as you're getting them. But I would never eat, for the listeners, don't eat wild boar because it's guy like Clayton's face here will be the guy on the other end getting it to you.
He's the poster boy.
Well, even you used to, because we used to gut them, and you'd pull, you know, half their guts out and have them hang out, like the liver and heart and all that would be hanging out, and they'd have liver spots, and you think, yep, because they'd get condemned. There was an inspector that come along and said yay or nay, and you'd be looking at it like, that's getting condemned, that's diseased, that's a pack-a-day smoker for the last 30 years, and they go through and you get the money. Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
okay.
Someone's eating that.
Whatever you
That's
want.
good. That's fine.
Yeah, human grade. The buns that got condemned went to dog food.
Really?
Yeah, sort of like that. There was nothing wasted, but they're a pest too. Like it wasn't. They were destroying
Yeah,
millions
it's a bit
of
like
dollars
down in
of crops.
Texas where they're just wrecking
They're
havoc.
they're,
yeah.
a, they're a pest, and I remember me and Clayton. We were pretty avid pig hunters, and we were at his house one day, and we were watching. What was that show that was over here? Hog Hunters or something? Was it Hog Hunting?
Yeah,
thing?
it was something like that. And they were like these little pigs they were going and chasing.
And catching one, it drove us up the wall. For that show, shout out to them, that they had the worst people on there that was anything. I'm sure there's people that could do it better, but that wasn't a good show.
I had I got a good pig hunting story, honestly. I did it once when I was younger too. I had these, have you ever heard of a Presa Canario dog? They're kind of like that, what do they call it? The Dojo Canario. Have you heard of those?
No.
They look like a massive pit bull. They're the size of a mastiff, but they're as athletic as a pit bull. Like they're lean and more muscly, but they're big.
Yep.
My male was 160 pounds. But
big dog.
yeah, great big dogs. I just had them as guard dogs. But I had a guy in my area, lived in that town, come and want one when I had pups. And he's like, you know what? Have you ever been interested in hunting wild pigs? And I was like, well, yeah.
Yeah, I love
Well,
it.
he had an enclosed area and he was raising them. And you could come to his house and pick out your pigs. And he'd go turn them loose in that enclosed area. And then you go in and hunt them. And he had a creek and a lot of brush and thick trees. And it was actually really, really cool. I'm surprised it didn't just take right off. But I know that the BLM and DNR or whatever was on him all the time about it being pretty, because they didn't want him loose here. But anyways, he come and he wanted a pup, and he told me, would you be interested in trading me a pup for a pig hunt? I was like, yo, yeah, you bet.
Yep.
So I went over to his house, and it's got all these pigs and all these pens, and you just got to pick your pig. And I went with like 2 mediocre sized pigs instead of one great big one, because I thought there's good odds that this thing just walks across the damn field, and because he looks so big, might be lazy, because he was doing a lot of the crossing the wild boars with the standard pigs, so you get the big, tusky, huge, some of them big ones.
Yep.
And he had some that were too big for me to even. He wasn't willing to trade $1,000 puppy for. But I picked out these 2 females that were, I don't know, 2.5, 3 feet tall at the back. Pretty good sized females, had tusks. I was like, yep, let's go with those 2 females. I was like, hell yeah. And I had a 30 Harriet pistol, which is a contender. It's a big old gun. You take a 30-30 round and you shave the brass down and make it into a pistol cartridge instead of a rifle cartridge. It'll do some shit. But I was pretty pumped, and I had them Presa Canarios. My hopes was I was going to just go turn them out and maybe get a pig fight going on, and then go in there and smoke that sucker with my.
Yep.
Well,
Get a man card.
yeah, I was like, hell yeah, sign me up. But we get in there, and I could hear him in the brush, and the dogs kind of started stirring up, and one started barking, and I'm looking down in the brush, and I'm like, oh, they're onto him, and pretty quick I was surprised the dogs, they broke out into a pig fight, and you could hear the pig squealing pretty good. And one come busting out right past me, made me jump in the air. I thought, oh shit, he's gonna hook me. Son of a bitch wasn't 5 inches tall. He brought down 2, because he goes and shows up an hour before you and turns them out, so that you don't know where they're at, and they get time to meander, because it's on like 30, 40 acres.
Yep.
And yeah, some bitch wasn't maybe 8 inches tall.
He just turned out a little one on you.
Yeah. 2 of them, 2 little bastards. And I went in there and shot the one, and then I never could find the other one. And then he leaves. He's just like, happy hunting. If you don't get him today, come back tomorrow, And I called him up, and I was like, dude, this is not the 2 pigs I picked. And he's basically like, tough shit. And I'm like, plus, we've been over that 40 acres for 5 days straight. I don't know where your other pig went. It's not there anymore.
Yeah.
And what it was literally too small. It fit through some of the damn fencing
Got
that he
out.
had. Yeah. Yeah, he got me good. He got me, but that's my pig hunting story.
Yeah, that's
Cost me a puppy.
That's a horrible story.
No talent, no badassery. No,
I thought you were like, I went down to Texas.
You want to talk about turning one pig into 5 pigs? I shot that sumbitch pig and cut it in half. It's so small, it's stupid.
That's
pissed.
That is, it's a fun. It was fun. I'd still enjoy it now, but I probably not as keen as I was back then.
Right.
We'd wake up and we'd drive hours and spend the whole weekend out there, and it was just good fun and make a little money to pay for fuel and beer. But it was
so how the pigs here, like Texas and Oklahoma and them areas, are having a lot of trouble with them, but they tend to be a lot more moist or greener, or like they. I don't know. Maybe it's just because they haven't made it this far, but they don't make their way up to Utah and Nevada. Is it that way in Australia? Are the pigs in the more greener, more more humidity areas, or what? I don't know what I'm trying to say there, but or do they stay out in the desert? They head out in the desert too.
I don't think they're in the desert. No, it's the better country, but I guess up north they're a bit more prevalent, aren't they? And bigger mobs, and I guess they're easy to find because there's not as much water. It's all isolated water, so they have to come to the water. That's where you get most of them, is on water. That's your best chance. So you generally, if you're running between dams and things like that to find, especially in the dry. It's better in the dry, because if there's gullies full of water everywhere, then it's hard to find them. You could have really good dogs, but like a K find for one of our dogs was a good find, but geez, you don't drive around a big property like you don't get within a K of a lot of them, really.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And a K is like just under a mile.
Okay.
But no, that's the hard part too. And it was crazy too what we learnt, because we would hunt a lot of like just ranches, I guess. No, like not much farming when we started out, like not crops.
Yep.
And then when we progressed from where they're catching them in the bush, there was thick scrub and like thick trees and vines and stuff. But then we went and we started getting to where we'd hunt in crops, and the change between those same dogs, good dogs, take them to a crop, it was like starting over, which is, I think, can go back to your working dogs. You can work your dogs in Texas, out there in the range there, and then come here, like where it's prevalent in forest and sagebrush, and the same good dog. There's an adjustment period there.
Yeah.
How long do you reckon it would take them, Clayton, before they got pretty good? Do you think at that? Because it was definitely an adjustment.
Yeah, well, it's so thick, I guess. Your smaller dogs are better. It's horses for courses a bit too. You're better off with your smaller dogs in thicker country, whereas your open country, you can have a big meathead and he can really stretch out and he can run them down pretty good, but he needs a bit more room to get moving.
Yep. Hopefully you're still recording.
I think so.
You wanker.
I don't know what that was.
Yes, him and his
Isn't
cell
that alarm
phones.
that went off yesterday?
Yeah,
Perfect.
That's picking up kid time. But I don't know why that. I was just watching. I was looking up and I could see it.
I think
It's gone.
alarms will still go off while you're recording. As long as you're, we've been in
It
more
wasn't-
than
it-
one of these podcasts,
didn't.
and his phone starts ringing, which means you ain't recording, Bubba. I'm
Yeah.
like, he gets the death stare when that happens.
Yeah, it stopped.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still on.
Yeah. Good deal.
We got the talent still covered.
Yeah, that's what
That's
I am.
most important.
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot of your pig hunting adventures really, it's really similar. Like I used to coon hunt, lion hunt, and bear hunt. Mostly coon hunt because I never had the money to get the equipment to go lion hunting, and that's really walking your butt off. You know what I mean? I'd hike for days. I'd lose my dogs in the mountains, and it'd take me 5 days to find them. Where other people had tracking collars, and they just drive to them. You know?
Yeah, well, that was a big thing for us when I think I came over here when I was 22, and I bought some tracking collars and took them home with me.
Yep.
Those Garmin ones.
Yep.
What a game changer, because
Oh, I guarantee it.
we just had the glow sticks.
Yep.
So in night, and we were pretty drunk, and you didn't really realize until you had a tracking collar. If a dog jumped off and went that way, fair chance it went into a gully and come around behind you and took off that way, and you don't know, and you've lost it, and you can't hear it. All you're doing is sitting there for hours waiting to hear something.
Yep.
And you start heading that way, you're just getting further away.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's the worst losing a dog.
Yeah.
You know what it's
So
like.
tell me this, because when I'd lose my dogs, I'd just end up going back to the truck and just every once in a while I'd wake up and whistle and honk it for the bastards, you know what I mean? See if they'd showed back up or not. But if they never came back to the truck that night, I just pull out my shirt, throw it on the ground.
Same thing.
And an old
Seat
dog would
cover.
seat cover,
Yeah.
something that smelled like me.
Yeah.
And they'd be just laying there asleep by that son of a gun when I come back the next day, if everything went right. you know?
If they weren't lost.
Yeah, that's freaking amazing. If you could throw your dog by, talking about them Presa Canary, I was going to get a little off subject, but the first female I bought, she was a year and a half old, and my sister lived in Missouri, and I had her and my brother-in-law go pick her up, and I bought the dog, and then they had to hold her for a month before I could make the trip over there to pick her up. And I told him, I paid a lot of money for her, and I said, whatever you do, do not turn her loose. Just leave her on the chain. You pet her. Don't let your kids around her. I don't know what kind of dog she is. I just know she's a well-bred, well-built, big guardian dog female. I don't know if she's mean or not, you know. Well, anyways, he felt bad for her, turned her loose. That took 3 minutes, and she was gone in the middle of town. In a town she'd never even been in, you know. And I was like, you idiot. Well, he was chasing her, running. He had people, kids all over the neighborhood. He was calling friends. They were all trying to chase this dog down. She made it to the city park on him and then just disappeared. They couldn't find her. And I was like, and he'd had her for about 2 weeks at that point. So I told him, go back home, get your dog crate with her bed in it, and go set it at the last place you seen her. And then just keep driving by and checking. And he, sure as shit, she was in it. About 3 hours later, laying in it. She didn't know where she was at, and she'd found her way back to that, smelled it out, and then was sitting in there. He just walked up and closed the crate on the door. She didn't come out to him, you know.
Yeah.
But I always thought that was interesting how I don't care what breed of dogs you got, they kind of have that sense to do that. You know?
It is pretty cool that they can do that and be untaught and
Yeah.
still get away with it.
It's a good trick when you're hunting dogs, anyways.
Shit. Yeah, there's some. It was a lot of getting stuck too. And we were just young, and it was just fun to get out of town.
Yep.
Get out and you go hunting. We'd make full weekends out of it, and just be out in the bush running around chasing pigs and driving slow and on a private ground and have a few beers and camp and
Mainly
it was
talk
fun.
shit.
Yeah, tell a lot. Just get pretty much you're just trying to get as many lies together as you could, so you could tell your mates when you got back how many pigs. Because little pigs like your little that could have been a 3 foot tall one by the time we got back to town.
Yeah, it got bigger and bigger.
Yeah, it's a problem.
And it was definitely, after you shot it, it was definitely 2 pigs.
Yeah, it was 2. It was lots.
And there's a lot of photo. Like I remember walking a little creek that fed a river with another mate. It was actually near where Travis's parents own, and the dogs went across the creek, and it was only it might only have been 20 meters wide, but into a river that had crocs, and it was right at the mouth of it. So there was a fair chance there were crocs in there. And we caught this sow. She might have been 40 kilo, like live weight, and we wanted a photo. So I swam her back across the creek just to get a photo with her. I just think about it now. I think, what an idiot you are! Like leaving a trail of blood, splashing through, dog swimming across with you. Like,
just good croc bait.
Croc bait all the way.
Yeah, it's and then you learn how to really stage animals to make them look bigger.
Yeah.
Just like fishing, you hold the fish out far away, it looks bigger.
Take the deer and hold him out like this. Yeah.
There was a hell of a time before Travis did do his accreditation. We used to use other people so that we could make money, and we'd catch them. We wouldn't kill them. We'd tie them up and leave them. Come back the next day on a 4-wheeler or something to pick them up, take them back, and we'd have utes, and we'd have just little dog cages on them to bring our dogs and whatnot, and you still had some tray space for your swags and everything else, all your gear. And I remember we used to get the pigs, throw them into the dog cage, and then cut their ropes off, because they'd swell up if you kept the ropes on for too long, and they'd be no good. They couldn't walk. Mm-hmm. So we'd do that, and the first one was fine, but then if you had another few, you got to get them in as well. So you sort of got someone trying to distract it on one side, and the other bloke's got the pigs thrown in the other side, and then on the way home you got this cage full of pigs, and then all these dogs tied behind them on the cage, and driving a few hours back home. It just must have looked terrible. People driving past, and the dogs want to eat the pigs badly.
They're trying to get out of them the whole time.
And the pigs are trying to eat the dogs.
It was a bit of a show.
Yeah,
but we 2 kids proud as you'd be driving back with the biggest smile on your face, and like, we're pretty cool.
You know how stupid. You know how many times I drove around town with a dead raccoon on the back of my truck. Sitting on top of my, like, if I got a haul of them, like 8, I'd line those things up on the top of my, they'd sit on there till they stunk. You know, it's just like, I got them. I brought them.
See that, chicks?
That was all in one tree, boys.
Yeah. Ladies, watch this.
And ladies do not like any of that. We thought they did, that they don't at all.
They're not impressed.
Nah. You're pretty much doing it for the other blokes, really. That's who you're showing off to.
Yeah, exactly right.
Just trying to get them envious. And like, and you'd leave a bit of blood on your car all the time.
Oh, yeah. Tailgate covered in blood all the time.
I've been busy.
Yep.
How big was it? Real big.
Yeah,
that was
too big to load and bring back and show you.
Yeah, that's pretty much the advance of hunting. I think we never really we got into bow hunting, which we got bows because we're going to hunt pigs bow hunting.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
And we thought that was a good idea, so we thought we'd get trained. We went and bought fancy bows, and went and got to the course, the archery club, shot to get good at it.
Yep.
And found out that animals are really hard to hunt with bows.
Especially when you reek of beer.
If you're not trying to sneak up on something, it's not worried about you at all. As soon as you start to try and sneak up on it, they're just so onto it.
You ain't a kidding.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that died pretty quick, the bow hunting.
Yep.
And you have to look for arrows. Not that I would miss much, but Clayton missed a lot, so we spent a long time looking for his arrows.
And that's not fun.
I've watched Travis go climb a tree 10 metres high and knock a broadhead out of the tree. 10 metres up. we were about 20 metres away from a roo, and he puts the arrow 10 metres up the tree.
He jumped.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, his arm probably got tired.
Yeah.
It was pretty serious. But that's about the hunting things that we did. Lots of fun little wrecks. There's lots of wrecks, really. That's weird.
That is weird.
It stops.
Give it
Alarms,
another half hour.
alarms will stop recording videos straight away.
Alarms will stop recording,
100%.
so you've had to restart it both times.
Yes. But that's
Ew.
more for the editing team.
That's
worry.
so awesome.
The video looked
That's
good.
more
It just
practice.
Jumps.
Yeah, this is going to be 3 videos.
It's good for Chance. That's why he loves it.
Lord.
Yeah, yep.
Yep.
I don't know if we've done a podcast yet where Travis didn't have a little bit of the video problems.
It clicks out, and Chance picks the worst picture
Difficulties.
to put on the video.
What do you mean?
I forget what episode it was, but you threw me on there, and I've kind of got I've got Down syndrome going on. The picture, you couldn't pick a one with my eyes were open. It was just like it's just the most worst picture.
It's like, well, Travis, get video is what I was kind of thinking in the moment. I was hoping to get one.
You're doing it
those
now.
words. Yeah, you're doing it now.
You're still doing it.
Yeah. You still got that Down syndrome.
Let's get back to making fun of Chance, all right?
Oh, shoot.
Let me see here. I got a couple questions. I don't know what time we're at.
Oh, about 40 minutes, not quite.
Yeah, all right. Guess we can hit him with a few of
Hit
them.
him with a few of them.
Yeah, I know his IQ's not that great, so hopefully the listeners can catch through it. Name 3 people you'd like to have dinner with, dead or alive.
Ooh, I reckon Shane Warne, Steve Irwin, Margot Robbie.
Okay, I know,
Off the top of my
I
head.
know who Steve Irwin is. Who's the other two?
Shane Warne's the best spin bowler in Australian cricket history.
Spin baller, cricket.
Like
history.
cricket,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, like a pitcher.
Just an all-round bit of a legend.
Okay.
Was a bit tubby in his time. Drank lots of beers. A little bit promiscuous.
Did a bit of coke
just a
too,
wild
isn't he?
man. I think he was a
He
wild
partied.
man, but he just the best cricket.
Isn't there like a really super famous Australian golfer guy that's the same way? He's like fat and smokes and drunk all the time and blonde. Isn't he Australian?
No, he's from here.
He's American, yeah.
Is he? Is he?
Yeah.
He's
I just
pretty-
pictured that when he was describing him.
It's similar. He'd smoked and that,
Yeah.
and he bowled like the ball of the century. They still show replays of it now, and yeah, it's spin. I guess it's kind of like baseball, I guess, in a way. But he's spun it and it's gone basically from one side of the pitch, and the batter's missed it and it's hit the other side, hit the stumps. So it was just amazing, and
Yeah.
he was just really good. He'd had some good yarns like from touring around, I think.
And who's the other one?
Margot Robbie.
Yeah, who's that?
You don't know Margot Robbie?
No, never heard of it.
She's just real good looking Sheila. She's
Wolf of Wall Street?
Wolf of Wall Street.
I've seen that. That's with Leonardo DiCaprio in it.
Yeah, the Sheila in that, the blonde Sheila in that.
Okay.
And she's like Harley Quinn.
Yep.
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 That's know who you are. I got a dog named after her.
Yep.
It's good
Harley
dinner.
Quinn, not the actual lady.
Not Margot and Robbie. She's from Australia.
Yeah.
She's an Australian.
Okay.
And Steve Irwin, obviously.
Yeah.
He's
I know
a
him.
bit of a goat. Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's what I'd settle on.
Yeah,
that's
they're pretty good. All right, here, I'll give you another one. If you could have a dog over, hunting dog over, who would it be? I think I've got a pretty good idea.
Like have the dog again.
And try again. Back in the day, hunting.
Yeah, Cruiser. I had that dog Cruiser. He was pretty special.
Yep.
Had the odd false jump, which was annoying for everyone involved.
What's that?
So it jumps off the back of the ute when there's not a pig there.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was
Jump.
when I was getting at when I was asking you, like, so the dog just gets off when he wants.
Jumps
That
off.
sounds like idiots jumping off when they see a shadow. You know what I mean?
Pretty much, and that's pretty much what they were doing. They were just very
Fish.
excited and were trying to make it happen
Yeah.
when there was nothing there.
Yeah.
And just getting everyone excited and then just sort of going out, doing a pee and come back, jumping on the ute and you're just sitting there like, don't you friggin' do that again, I'll have you.
And that was the best too, because you'd get into it as one of our dogs, and we'd always have a young dog or something, and we'd put the protective vest on, and there's nothing worse than when you stop at a gate and the dog jumps off and it's your dog, it's dead of winter or any time, but can't jump back on. get back on the truck with the protective, because it's an adjustment. It takes a while for them to get to moving with it. And you cop so much shit from the other person. Like, can you talk to me? Just getting into it and it make you want to fight. I've wanted to punch Clayton in the head so many times.
Because your dog jumped off?
One dog would jump off or his dog would jump off and they would just pick at you until you finally snapped. And there's nothing you could do because you still had to put the dog back on. It was the worst freaking thing in the world.
Well, you're sitting there in the ute looking at this dog saying, get up, get up. Get up, and there's someone next to you going, "Can't your dog jump up? Can't your dog jump up?" And then you got to get out, grab hold of it, and just not choke the life out of it, throw it up, and then if it happens again, it's just lots of gates.
I'll tell you what, when we was working dogs with Joe one time, and I can't go into too much detail, but that same thing type of deal was going on. Two of us sitting there watching Joe, and Joe was like, "I'm kind of impressed with this young dog," and then she just completely made a liar out of him at that moment. And you remember Molly, that white dog?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Like rank.
Yep.
Rank. But in the beginning, she wasn't. She was just a dipshit.
Yep.
And he was seeing a few things he liked about her, but he couldn't make her do anything. She was so just scatterbrained idiot, you know. And me and Weston was sitting there just talking shit.
Yep.
And
makes it worse.
He got so mad that he scooped that dog up and was just holding on to it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he started trying to herd the goats by himself while he's got packing that dog around, you know. And yeah, he was so mad about it. His wife freaking had to holler at him, freaking, Joe. He was like, okay. You know.
Yeah. I bet.
Hey, dude, calm down. We're just giving you a little crap, you know. But I see what you mean, though.
There's nothing worse.
Your dog's being the crap head.
Yep.
And everybody's going, meh, 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 meh. And especially if you're trying to work your dog.
Yep.
And you got this going on, man.
It makes it way. Yes. And I would feed on it when it was Clayton's because you can just keep poking them and they just keep getting madder and madder and madder. And he'd do the same thing to me until you were just about to sell everything that resulted in you having dogs.
Yep.
And that's why I had to move countries so I could get away because if I was working dogs and Clayton was there, he's like, oh, your dog should be able to do that. Oh, he can't, huh? Oh, he can't do that? Oh, your dog can't do that, can it? Oh, that'd be good.
That'd be nice if it could.
Yeah, so I had to escape, And in Australia, banter like that, it's borderline bullying is pretty serious. And if you show any weakness, they'll give it to you.
That's the worst thing you can do. Show any feeling is the worst thing you can do, I think.
Yep. Yeah.
If you have to go home and cry yourself to sleep, that's fine. That's just with you.
Yeah.
Don't show anyone else that.
Yeah.
But I talked about that. Something we need to clear up too. There's been some rumors going around that you had a 60th birthday. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah.
Is that true? Is that the tech team?
It's your story. It's your story. You tell it.
Are you 60? How old are you, Chance?
I'm only 59.
That's right. That's what I thought because you look
I'm
much
not
older.
the big 60 yet.
You look older.
Yeah.
Well, are we looking for?
I look 69.
That's
according to Brett. Yeah, I'm there.
You're there. Yeah, you're in it. I just want to make that for the listeners because there's a lot of questions floating around.
Not till November, bud.
Yeah,
still got a minute.
There was a lot of things about your age. Are you a November baby too? Mm-hmm. It must be something in that month for people aging horribly.
Maybe. Aren't they Valentine's babies? They're conceived in Valentine's, the November ones. Is that how it works out? When is Valentine's Day?
February
14. Guess who's November 14?
Oh.
Mum and Dad got to work.
Yeah. There's no resistance there.
Nope.
There's a lot of drinking during pregnancy with you, I think.
Yeah. That's what happened.
A little bit in the pacifier, too.
Yeah, there's something going on. Yeah, shoot. Talking about that, I just seen Clayton smile. And the funniest thing ever, Clayton had baby teeth. His bottom teeth never come in as adult teeth. Are they in now?
Oh, I got them bent back. I got some falsies in there now, but someone decided I didn't need them. at the pub one night.
Got him bent back. That's the term, huh?
Yeah,
With
yeah.
a fist?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Straight right. Yeah. I would have just been standing there minding my own business. I wouldn't have been mouthing off, and he's just picked me out of nowhere.
For no reason.
The shock I had, it was just a dog shot. From what I recall, it was a bit fuzzy, but yeah, I didn't have a couple adult teeth come in, and they've let me know about that for a long time.
Was it like, must have been front ones that they could see or something?
Yeah, bottom front.
Front. They were always like the same. As big as a kid that just broke his teeth through, is that's how Clayton's never got any bigger or changed.
No shit.
Not like your perfect teeth, but
No, my
big,
overbite.
the big overbite and the braces.
Shut up.
You'd never see a man.
But going back to that, you got punched and got him knocked backwards.
Yep.
And so now you got a couple of falsies
I just
in
got a
there.
little bridge in there. Yeah. I probably do need to get onto that, but who knows when you're going to get punched in the head again. I keep telling the dentist, I'm like, just give me a couple more years. I don't know if I've got all the cheek out of me yet.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a while now. No one's taken offense to anything I've said for a while. So
The whole way here, I was offended.
but I just the mouth thing that surprises me. Him bringing that up with a bloke that had braces and pimples like you wouldn't believe.
I was an ugly duck stage. I went through an ugly duck. Like me and Brad Pitt kind of went through the same stage.
Yeah.
And we just grew into
Never
ourselves.
got out of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say Brad came out of his though.
Yeah.
I had I had a bit of an overbite, that's for sure.
Yeah. We've seen you running your fingers through your hair for the podcast. Give them a little side to side to freaking the glamour you got going.
I got to
on.
get it.
You definitely come out of that ugly duckling stage. There it is.
Yeah, I think
There it is.
I think I grew out of it.
Yeah. I think you fell out of it.
hit the ugly branches all the way down the tree.
Oh
Hit with every stick. All right, well, moving on from my pain and suffering. If you could go back in time and tell your younger self something, what would it be?
That's a pretty good question. Probably, I think I'd probably travel more, to be honest. Like, we had a pretty good trip over here when I was 22. And, we spent a lot of time at them local pubs and clubs, spending $200-300 a night. We could have been doing probably a bit more with that money. But we had some good times doing it. But I think I'd do that, Everything else has been pretty good, but yeah, there was a bit of a blur there for a while that we played pretty hard. Yeah.
Yeah, could have spent it going somewhere. That's probably true.
Yeah, because we did that trip over even when we were 22 for a few months, and geez, I've seen some pretty cool things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we used to blow it down the local pub a fair bit. It's just not as fun as going places.
Just a question that popped into my head, just to give us something else to talk about. How often do you guys use talking a minute about hearing the tusks puncture the dog's vest? How often did you lose a dog?
We were pretty lucky.
Yeah.
That's a pretty rough sport.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Obviously, I'm guessing the more aggressive dog, just like on cow dogs, the more aggressive dog's always one that's most likely to freaking get hurt. But on a regular basis, like say in a year's time, or would you even lose a dog a year? Is that something? Because I would think you'd lose quite a few dogs.
If you protect, there's people that didn't put any protection on it because it was like a badge of honor to have rip scars, like big scars on your dog. And I think that hero people would not worry about running them just to get them, and they'd go through a few. But like our dogs, we were pretty proud of them, and we put a bit of work into them. So we protected them the best we could. But there were still vet trips, and they'd be opening up, and you put staples in them.
Yeah, like you said, he is. And I have that just for my cow dogs. Like the staple gun's the best thing you can learn to use.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing's amazing. If you can get it quick and fast and pinch her together so it doesn't dry up and start shrinking on you, then shoot, you can heal almost anything up.
Yeah, and so we would take care of them. Like if our dog's got in a big fight with a good pig that night, we wouldn't, the next morning, we wouldn't, unless they're real bad, we'd take it pretty easy on them. So we were pretty, I guess we were more careful than a lot of people because we had a fair bit into it. Like just like a good dog.
Good stock dog.
Yeah.
If you work his guts out one day and he's sore and he got into a couple of scuffles and he's limping a little bit, he's going to take a week off and go back at it when he's ready.
Yeah, we wouldn't rush them through it or anything. But I think because it was nothing funner than you have that bond with the dog, I think, and he's helping you. He's going
Yeah,
in a
100%.
good fight, and he's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
And he'll stick it out. So you owe him to be there and give it to him. So that was that was what was half the fun too.
Yeah,
like you were invested in it. And I know, like I'm sure it was the same with Clayton. And I don't mind now, like took on my dogs, like, oh, you tell my dog has a fault. I would be like, yeah, no, that's true. I am trying to breed past it or train better for that.
Yeah.
And I can take that now. But back then, that was like you were insulting me, or like my unborn child, and I hated you forever if you said something like that to me about my dogs. So,
Jeez.
yeah, we were off you. I was done.
Oh yeah,
Really?
I was going to say the same thing. You're so reliant on each other. You're relying on that dog to run into the scrub, not knowing what's out there, just on a scent and hitting up God knows what he's running into. So you've got to, back him up, not fuck around and get there.
Yeah.
Because he's relying on you. Then all
Yeah,
he's
you
doing
owe
is
it to
holding
him.
on
Yeah.
and just getting it's not like he's fighting back. He's literally got hold of the pig and the pig's just going whack, 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 trying to aim him up. And you can only fit him out with the best gear you can get. It's a bit of a thing with gear. Like you can wear Kevlar, or like put Kevlar on your dogs and nothing will ever go through, but they're not going to run in it,
Yep,
So there's that balance with the right gear that, spend the decent money and help them out the best you can. And if they do get hurt, then if you've got to abandon a trip to save a dog, then so be it.
Yep.
Yeah, they'll still be there next time.
Yeah, if you want to use him the next time, you're going to get there. You owe it to him to get in there and save him just as much as he's
and
going and getting you a pig.
Yeah, and you're in the fight because it can hurt. There's pig hunters that get hooked and they open up arteries and people can get killed from it too because even your good dog, like you're relying on them to hold onto that ear or wherever they can grab onto, and you've got to reach down to a 250-pound pig with good tusk fighting for his life, and you got to reach down there and grab hold of it, and that dog's got to hold on to it, otherwise you're in.
If
You're going to the hospital.
Yeah, if he lets go, you're the only one got a hold of it now.
There's some trust there that you have to have. So
Go into a little bit of detail on that too. It seems like they grab the back legs and toss them, or how do you do it? How do you stick them? How do you go through that process of?
Yep. So, I just used to go in, back legs, dogs obviously on the head, flip them usually pretty easy. We used to always go stick them down underneath the neck, straight sort of, I don't know what that, sort of between collarbones, that sort of soft part there, straight down there, because when you're boxing them, that's where you prefer less damage. But a lot of people, you don't have to flip them if you side stick them, so straight behind that front leg, straight in the heart there, I guess, lungs and heart, drop them there, and they just sort of in, and it's pretty quick.
So what do you mean by if you're boxing them?
When you're making money off them, like you've stuck them and then you've hung them up and
It's a better cut to
gutted
hit them
them
up here.
That's right, and you're not damaging any meat.
Yeah.
Then I guess going there, if you're just going straight, there's no damage you can really do. Whereas if you're going in the side, I guess you can do a bit more damage.
Gotcha.
yeah, and it seems like I always hear people telling me, I slit their throats, and I instantly know they're full of shit and lying that they've caught pigs.
It's kind of like a guy telling you, "Oh, just shoot them prairie dogs out. What's the problem?"
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
exactly.
I absolutely know you don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly the same thing. But it's like when they like, you just slit their throats. It's like you've never done it.
Yeah.
And if you have, you've done it wrong. And what a horrible way to die. Like when you whack them in the heart, they're pretty well dead in seconds.
Yeah, it's quick. It's all the blood pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's game over. So that's kind of the best way to do it, I think.
And you want to be quick because you want to tap them off then and go, right, I get the next one.
Yeah, because you might have 4 more dogs out there doing the same thing. You need to get on that.
And that's the mayhem you're talking about when there's a few, it's got to be quick and done. And yeah, it is hairy in the scrub. Like you're saying with like at night time, I just remember always seeing, because we used to hunt a lot of brigalow suckers, and it was just like, they were kind of trees, but they were really thick and grew together, and it was just really thick scrub, and the pigs had tunnels through, and it was just terrible to get through.
Yep.
And you could just hear something coming at you, and you're like, is that a dog? Is that a pig? If it's a pig, how big's it going to be?
Yep.
Is it a dingo? And you're just sitting there with a torch in this little hole, and you're just waiting for whatever comes through. And most times it's your dog, but sometimes it's a pig, and holy Christ, that scares the hell out of you.
The exact fear that you had when that thing came out, I've had it.
Yeah.
And it is, Yeah, it's an adrenaline. It's just adrenaline, like, because you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
You-
You're wondering what's coming.
You
out
don't
there.
know, and then like you can be running, and like when we'd prepare, we'd have jeans on, good boots, because we got pretty deadly snakes in Australia.
Yeah.
So you'd put the good boots on, the jeans, long sleeve shirt, your knife. You'd have trackers, flashlights, or headlamps,
Yep.
And it was go time. And you'd go and you would catch some pigs sometimes. I found, I don't know, our biggest hit rate was when we'd wear flip-flops, pair of football shorts and a singlet, drunk with phone lights. And you hit the big one that time.
That's the
Yeah.
big
And
one.
then you run full speed and it's black, you can't see nothing with your phone flashlight. And a good barbed wire fence will pull anyone up pretty quick. You see a lot of people. I always try to stay just behind the person
Yeah.
because whatever they hit, I knew.
You got a little more time.
Because you've hit a couple barbed wire fences.
I was just going to say only because I was faster. Anyone that was there was faster than him, so he was always trailing.
Travis
like,
was always the safe one, wasn't he?
You go, boys. I'm
coming."
coming. You know,
That was it.
Even if he was trying, I've seen him run. Yeah, he's in the safe spot.
Yeah.
It's good to see people eat shit, but because everyone's across the flat and there's shrubs and sticks and logs, and
Yep.
to see someone try to jump a log and catch their foot on it and just absolutely eat shit into the ground.
you see a flashlight come through the air.
It's so funny. It
Yeah.
really gives you a bit more steam to keep going because it just builds you up like he's out.
Yeah.
And it is, there's something to it. There's a competitiveness to it that you want to get there first. And this is
Oh,
before my
yeah.
knees were broken.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I would, maybe I was a little slower, but I got to a couple of before
Yeah,
anyone
yeah.
else.
It's funny how much it reminds me of coon hunting, even though it's 10 times more dangerous. But I just spent my entire 20s out there in the dark with flashlights and your freaking knife and your pistol and your headlamps, and then you just turn them dogs loose and start walking and listening for them.
It's about as much fun as you can have with your pants on.
Oh yeah, it is. It really is. We at one point I started to grow up a little bit, and I got a job in the city. So I come out here to Orem and was cleaning carpets and doing that jazz, but I couldn't let go of my hound dogs, so I kept my two best hound dogs. And I actually had a boss that had hound dogs and hunted, and I was like, "Where in the world do you coon hunt out here?" And he's like, "Oh, Utah Lake. It's amazing." I was like, "Right on." I brought my hound dogs out and kept them at another guy's house and just go over and feed them every night. But we'd go out here to this lake. That's right there by Orem and Provo. And the entire lake is neck deep. And never failed, the raccoon always swam it. When they were running, they'd run out of places to run. And the trees there were like big, tall
Raccoons can
trees.
swim?
Oh, they live in the water, dude.
Really?
Yeah, they live in it. They love it. They
You're not-
spend almost all their time. That's where they get all their food is the water.
You're not thinking of beavers, are you?
No. No.
I saved them for the weekend. Huh?
Have you ever gotten your hands on a raccoon? Do you guys even have raccoon in?
No. Clayton has a similar story that's hilarious about something.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Freaking raccoons are mean.
Yeah.
Mean.
And
Well,
have rabies.
Yeah. Well, in that Utah lake, we'd go out there and there's you had about 100 feet out into the water, and then there was like a wall of tamarack, like cottontail or whatever you want to call it. It's just like a tamarack wall of shrubs. You'd take your way out there, and you just have to climb up on it, and then it would collapse once you got high enough, and then climb up, and you'd get a path through it, and then it was open lake. And you can just hear your dogs out there in the water. And you don't want to take your gun and get it wet, so you just take a machete, which would help you get through them tamaracks. And you literally flashlight, machete, and you're up to the armpits in water. And raccoon will climb up on the highest thing that's there.
Screw that.
Like when your hound dogs are swimming for coon, 99% of the time the raccoon gets tired and climbs up on a dog. I used to have videos, like several videos, where my dog's swimming in a circle, just baying, burr, burr, and that raccoon has him by the dog collar, riding him like a horse. He's like, "I'm saving my energy, bud." And that dog can smell him, but he doesn't know where he is. Until another dog piles on top of him and starts trying to kill him. You know, and then they go under and the fight's on, But But anyways, you just wander out there and you're watching for eyes. You know what I mean? And then the raccoon can see in the dark better than anybody, and the dog's next, and then you're at the bottom of the list of who can see, you know. And 99% of the time, that raccoon's headed right for you. He's like, whoop, I see something I can climb up on.
Yeah.
And so you got your flashlight and your hatchet. And you're like, is that a dog? Is that a coon? Is that a dog? Oh, shit, it's a coon. And then you have no options. Your dog won't leave it. So you just have to take your dog leash and wrap it around the coon and start hauling ass back to the bank while your dogs just bay you up and swim the whole. They're trying to attack the coon while you're trying to pull them to the bank. But that's a wild time.
That is
middle of the lake.
terrifying.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
No Crocs though. We don't have to worry about that.
That's a good thing.
I wouldn't. Yeah, no, that's not for me.
Oh, it's a blast. It is a blast.
I'm
You don't have to worry about tusks, but you do have to worry about rabies and have them climb up on your damn head.
Yeah, no, not for me. Do you? What happened with you and the raccoon, the
Possum.
possum? Because you're a bit of a
Is a
pest
raccoon
man.
and a possum or just a possum?
Just a possum.
Yeah, we have possums. They're
Yep.
terrible,
Yep.
and they're angry too. They got the bad claws, and
And they're creepy little bastards.
live in ceilings and in your shed, and
Yep.
just terrible. And I was over at my wife's parents, and the grandma lives on the place as well, like on the property as well. And I was just walking out after smoko, and I look up, and I just see this possum in the gutter on the roof, and I'm like, I'll get that. You know, I'll get rid of that thing. That's a mongrel. It'll be running up and down the roof, annoying the grandma. I'll do my good bit for the day. And anyway, I got a ladder, and we had a little 20-kilo feed bag there, and I got my wife to hold that. And I jumped up there, and it was sort of sitting there. It didn't know if I'd seen it or not. And I grabbed it by the tail, and it went to run away, and I grabbed its head, and I'm sort of eye level with it. And I've worked out I've got one of the hangers that hold the gutter up in between. So I've got to let go of one hand to get this possum out. So I'm like, okay. I said, you ready? And they're all good. So I've lifted it up, and it's just going ape shit, and it's trying to scratch me. And I think it did. Yeah, I think it did scratch me. And all I'm thinking is, oh well, I've got rabies now.
Yeah.
And I've taken it down, and my wife's there with her mum and put it in the bag. And anyway, they've closed it up with their hands, and they're holding. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go wash my hands and maybe try to wash some rabies out of this cut. And
Australia doesn't have rabies.
that we know of.
That's true.
I've gone in there, and the next minute I hear these women yelling out, it's climbing out the bag. So they're holding it, and this possum's climbing up the bag and pushing past their hands.
Pushing through.
Yeah, and there's some bale twine there, so just tie it up, you know. It's not that big of a deal. So they did, and we threw it in the back of the ute, and I'm like, I got to dispose of this because this is going to come back, and they're a mongrel thing. So we went probably a couple K and onto a breakaway gully, and there was a bit of 2x4 in the back of the ute. I've still got this thing bagged up, and I'm like, right, sort this out. Put it out there, the lump in the bag. I put it out of its misery. You know, whack, 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 done deal. This is my good bag. I'm going to keep this bag. Tipped it out of the bag. Whoosh, away it ran.
Oh, my.
Off it took in this breakaway gully, and it must have looked terrible in the car because wife and her mother were sitting there, and they just see me light out across the paddock in this breakaway gully with this 2x4. And I caught up to it, obviously, and sorted it out. But, yeah, it blew my mind. I thought, there's no way that thing lived that. It was like a Wolverine, that thing.
No kidding. That possum. We used to have a bunch of possum. I lived in Missouri for just a minute. We had a lot of possum there, but I was a little kid then, so I didn't just seen them. I just remember seeing them. They'd get in your trash. They were nasty little creatures. But my cousin grew up there, and yeah, he's got some horror stories. That was a game for them. They'd take the golf clubs out in the night and just go swatting possum. That's what they did.
They're
He's
pests.
like, man, I feel bad for possum nowadays. He said, but that was the game they had.
It wasn't your trash they were getting in though.
No, yeah.
Yeah, little disease-ridden bastards.
Oh, they are gross. Gross animal.
Yep, they're not a good thing. I do know Clayton. They probably shit house, but I'll ask him it anyway. If you got a good quote or a joke or both.
Good quote or a joke. Geez, you could have given me a few of these before we started.
These
this.
are off the cuff. I know they're all bad for me anyway.
The real question is going to be is if Travis has a different one than the last one When he helps people out, he has the same one every podcast.
Frankie got mad at me for you stealing them. That's right.
Oh, the jokes.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. I can't really think of a good quote, really.
You don't have to use a quote. It can be a joke, and I know you've told me a bunch of shit house ones, so I'll be ready for it.
Yeah, but they're real ordinary. Yeah, I got a real ordinary one. Why'd the chicken cross the road?
No clue.
Because
There it is. There it is. Straight from Australia.
that's what happens
best
when
we
you,
got.
That's when you become a dad. You just
Yep.
lose all the real bad ones, and you just get
Yep.
with them ones. Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good dad joke.
Yeah, well, that's probably finishing her up. But thanks for coming on, and we're going to keep you around for the next episode where we've got some fun stuff with some call-ins and
Yep.
some different things, so you can co-host and we'll have another
Yep.
bullshit story. And
Call Travis on his shit in the
Yeah.
next episode.
yep.
Perfect.
And thanks for bringing up my teeth. Thanks, Clayton.
No worries. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
You can catch all our episodes of Stock Dogs Unleashed on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Don't miss an episode. Hit that follow button. Without you guys showing your support, we can't keep growing. So join us every week for insights, laughs, and all things ranch life. But seriously, hit that follow button.